before 10:30, no later than drop them drawers. I know what you want. I ask myself, is this shit real? I contemplate about how I feel, but you make it way too hard to think.
Hey beauty babies, it's Mookie and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell so that you get all my videos once they get uploaded and you do not miss another freaking video. We waking Mason up, y'all. We waking Mason up. Yeah, so this is part 2 to I think I'm gonna title this, "You make Corey Pritchett look like an angel." Yeah. So this is part 2 to that. If y'all did not watch part 1, make sure y'all go and watch part 1 because I just jot down, you know, events that pretty much happened, which led up to this next event, and which pretty much led up to me really deciding I'm gonna walk away and a divorce is what's best for us, okay? So yeah, I think I left off of, I ended up losing myself, y'all. I ended up losing myself really bad, but I still tried to hold on. Still tried to hold on to my marriage. I ended up telling him, like, we sat down, we talked numerous of times, but of course that just went in one ear and out the other. I was explaining to him like events when he will pull out his guns on me, and you know my kids are right there, and I'm just like, you know, fuck me, because that's pretty much what it's giving. Fuck me. So fuck me, take me out of the equation and think about your kids. You know, like what happens even if you are mad and you just pulling out a gun to try to scare me? You clearly see that it doesn't scare me. What if you accidentally do shoot me? Not even intentionally. What if you accidentally really do shoot me and you take me away from my babies? What happens to my babies then? You know, I tried to give him examples like that, you know, and I sat down and I talked to him, and I'm just like, you know, what happened to our kids? Like, you know, if you love our kids, you would get your shit together. And I told him, I'm like, you need counseling. I don't feel like I need counseling because I'm not the problem. Like, numerous of times he would tell me like I'm a good wife, and he thanked me, and it's nothing that I'm doing wrong. And you know, like, I'm not gonna say that I'm perfect, because yeah, I have a fucked up attitude. When you piss me off, I have a very fucked up attitude. But I am the most giving person, especially when it comes to my man and my kids. I'm nurturing. I bend over backwards, and you know, that's what I did for Brian. Like, it was nothing that I wouldn't do for that man. I did everything for him. Like, events when he got hurt on his bike and the man was damn near paralyzed, it was me. It was me that nursed him back to walking. It was me he called on all the time. It was me taking him to therapy. It was me giving him advice and encouraging him, like, you gonna get through this. Like, man, you was almost paralyzed. This close, paralyzed. And it was me, like, it was always me that he fell back on, but it was me that he treated like shit. Like, that man treated me like shit. I can't even like bring up a time where I was like,
you want me to just take your crutches with me?
Really happy. Like, it was always me. So it's just like,
okay.
I never understood why, and I don't think I will ever understand why he treated me the way he treated me.
Okay.
To this day, I still don't understand. I know why I stayed, but I don't understand like why he treated me the way he treated me, you know? So, yeah, where I left off at. This is when we really decided, well, I decided I I was really over the marriage. And, you know, I knew in my brain that I was ready to go. Like I was done with the marriage. I was checked out of the marriage, but I had to find like the safest way out because it was not safe. I couldn't just leave. It wasn't safe for me and my kids. And so, yeah, I tried to explain to him multiple situations, and I'm just like, you know, you bring your guns out on me, and it's just like, what if you kill me? What happens to my kids? Because you're going to jail, so they won't have a mom, they won't have a dad, and it's like, you just leave my babies? Who's gonna take care of my babies? Yeah, they can go to my mom, they can go to your mom that, you know, raised you, but it's nothing like their mother or their dad. Like, what happens if you take me from them, you know? And so he told me that, you know, he understood and that he would never do it again. And, you know, after that incident, he didn't never bring out his gun again, but we still will fight. He still will put his hands on me. He ended up going to counseling, but was that before or after? Okay, so let me start it off, because this is what really like boiled everything over the pot. So after we had that conversation, we were trying to work on our marriage. And things were cool as always. It will always be cool, and then it just slide downhill. So we were talking about moving into a house. And of course I told him, like, you know, if we move into a house, I'm gonna need you to, like, you know, pick up some slack, because it's like I'm taking care of all the bills, I'm taking care of the kids. Like, I'm gonna need your help if we move into a house, because I was paying $1,000 back for my apartment in Stockton. And the house that we did find, nice ass house. I'm talking about a nice ass house in Modesto. Found a house out there. I want to say we damn near were getting approved for that house. I think it was like $2,500 for a 4-bedroom. I'm talking about a house was so nice, extremely nice. And one day I told him, like, you know, I had like maybe $6,000 saved up into my account. And so I told him, like, you know, hey, this is how much the deposit is, this is how much first month rent is, this is how much they want. So I told him, like, you know, I'm gonna need half of it or whatever. And baby, when I told him that, it was just like, it went left. It went left. He thought that I was finna pay, cause I think it was like you had to pay the first month rent and the deposit. So it was like $5,000. He thought I was gonna pay all that by myself. And so I'm like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do this. I'm not even gonna move in the house with him or whatever. It's 2:30 in the morning, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm yawning. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm not finna move in no house with you. Like, so that was a red flag. And at this point now I'm following my mind and I'm listening to these red flags. So I'm just like, he's not paying bills here now in this apartment that I have now. What makes you think he's gonna pay bills in a house that I get? So I'm just like, I talked to my granny about it and whatever, and that's when I finally opened up to my granny for the first time. And I told her, and I was just like, I explained to her, I'm like, Granny, what should I do? I really want this house. I said, but, you know, like, he doesn't help me pay bills here now. And it's like, if I move into this house, it's like, you know, I don't want to move into a house and then I be struggling and, you know, shit like that or whatever. So my granny, she's just like, you know, baby, you do what you got to do for you. And she was like, but if he ain't paying bills now, then if I was you, I wouldn't do it or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't think that I'm going to do it, because, you know, I'm not going to be struggling. Like, I'm comfortable in paying my rent now And, you know, because I've been having it for 8-9 years that I've been living here or whatever. It's just a simple fact that he's supposed to be the man of the house, but you don't issue out no money for these bills. Now, I mean, if I ask you and be like, hey, I'm short, can you pay this? He will pay it, but he'll tell me like, oh, I gotta pay my car note first, and then I'll see whatever I have left, and then I'll pay it. What? It don't work like that. So I just be like, you know what, fuck it. I get irritated and I just be like, it's good, I'll figure it out. And then that'll start an argument because now he's mad because I didn't like the fact that he wanted to pay his car note first instead of paying bills where he actually lay his head at. Like, you know, having a roof over your head is way more important than that car note, baby. And so, yeah, we were getting into it over shit like that. So I just decided, you know, I'm not going to take the house. I'm not going to move into the house because we actually did get approved for the house. And that's what really started everything because I didn't want to pay the $5,000 by myself for a house that we both wanted. And so we ended up getting into it over that. And he ended up calling his mama. I talked to his mom, and even his mom was like, yeah, you know, do what's best for you and your kids. And she's like, mind you, this is his not his birth mom. This is his mom that raised him. And she's like, yeah, Brian should be helping you, you know, and y'all should be doing it together. And I'm like, that's what I'm telling him. It's not like I want him to do everything. Like, times are hard. This is not back in 1824 when grandpas and shit like that was taking care of all the bills. Like, I just want you to meet me halfway. And he wasn't even willing to do that. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to get the house or whatever. And so he got mad or whatever because I didn't want to, you know, call him back and tell him that we wanted the house. And he's like, I told you I was going to give you the other half. I just couldn't give it to you right then and there. And I'm just like, I don't want to move into the house. Like, I'm not going to move into the house. I'm following my first mind because I know even if you was to have gave me that money, that was just only for us to move in. You wasn't going to help me pay them bills. You wasn't going to meet me halfway. So I was just like, I'm going to follow my first mind and I'm not going to get that house. If I get a house, I'm going to get something that I know that I can take care on my own, and I'm not going to be struggling, and I'm not going to need nobody's help. I will get something smaller for me and my kids versus getting this big ass house. And, you know, it just don't work out in my favor. So after that, we started fighting again. And this is all because I didn't want to accept the house. So we're fighting in the house. My kids are here. And I ended up calling my brother. So that I can leave, because he will always keep me hostage in the house. Like, when we fight and stuff like that, he will always try to keep me hostage in the house. So I ended up calling my brother, and I called my brother, and I told my brother, like, you know, come over here and come get my baby. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna act like, what did I tell him? I said, I'm gonna act like I'm going downstairs to do something, and I'm gonna leave. And I said, when I leave, you take my baby, and you take my baby to Granny house, and you keep my baby with you until I come back. And so, because he wouldn't let me take my son. And so I was just like, you know, my son's gonna be fine. He's not gonna do nothing to my son or whatever. And so I ended up taking my son, and so I just didn't want to fight no more. Like, I didn't want to fight. I already knew, because this shit happens all the time. So I was just like, I don't want to fight. So I called my best friend or whatever, and we sat at the park. And like, y'all, I was so drained from fighting, to the point I fell asleep in the car at the park. So I fell asleep in the car at the park, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go back home, because I know it's not gonna stop there. We're gonna still fight. And I said, I don't want to do that or whatever. So I ended up getting a hotel. I got a hotel, And so my best friend came with me or whatever. He's blowing up my phone the whole night. He's calling me, texting me, threatening me. And I go home and I'm thinking that everything is gonna be fine. It's gonna be, calm down. But it wasn't. Same thing happened. Fighting, we arguing. Mind you, this is the whole 24 hours. This is the whole next day. And so I call his mom. Mind you, this is going on all day. I come home, we're fighting, we're arguing. My kids are in the house. My baby's is in. It's like, my daughter's so used to it to the point that she's screaming and she's crying. And so I call his mom. Mind you, now it's nighttime. It's nighttime now. And so I call his mom and I say, Mom, I said, I explained to her what happened. And I said, I'm tired. Like, I've been fighting for 2 days. I'm tired. And I'm like, he just keep putting his hands on me. I said, I'm so tired to the point, like, I'm gonna really fuck him up. I said, so please, somebody come and get him. Like, just come and get him out of my house. Like, he would not leave my house. And so his mom, they were like an hour away. They stay in Vallejo. And so I call his mom, and so she's like, she tried to call him and tell him to stop, and like, you need to chill out and da-da-da. And she's like, I guess he going off on her now. And so he's like, she's like, she calls me back and she's like, well, if he don't stop, she said, call the fucking police on his ass. She said, send his ass to jail. And that's one thing I never wanted to do. I never want to get the police involved. I never want to call them. I was just thinking and hoping that things would change. And I felt like it never changed. It just got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. And so now we're fighting. My lip ended up busted and everything. And I had nails on, my nail broken off. And so I ended up calling the police. I went in the bathroom, and like, I'm whispering on the phone, and I'm like, can somebody, can y'all send somebody to my house? Like, he's putting his hands on me or whatever. So the police ended up coming. When the police come, now I'm outside and I'm talking to his sister. And I'm talking to his sister and I'm telling her, everything that's going on. And I'm like, this is not me. Like, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to fighting a man. I'm not used to fighting in my relationships. Like, like, my babies is seeing this. Like, this is not what I want to teach my daughter. I have a daughter. Like, this is not what I want to teach my daughter. And that's all I kept saying. And like, my baby, she's seeing this. And I can't teach my daughter, like, this is not right. I knew that this wasn't right. I knew I should have been walked away, but it was so hard. It was so hard. And then he wouldn't leave. And so they ended up coming to my house. Police ended up coming to my house. They took pictures of my lip being busted, and I had bruises on my legs. And so I had no other choice but to tell them, everything. And so at this point, I want to say I told them that my daughter wasn't there, but my son was there. And he choked me out on the bed. I like damn near I don't want to say I blacked out, but damn near. I was damn near about to black out. And he finally let me go once my son started screaming. And so, I told the police everything. And of course, they seen my lip was busted and shit like that. And I never been in a domestic violence situation, so I didn't know, what happens after this. And so he ended up going to jail. This happened probably in November of 2022. 2022. Yeah, probably 2022. Yep, 2022 of November. And he ended up going to jail. And they let him out that Monday. They had a temporary restraining order on him, so he couldn't come to my house. But after the temporary restraining order was over, he was able to come back. I didn't, like I said, I've never been in a domestic violence situation, so I didn't know what happens after that. So I didn't know that when it's kids that's in the house, they have to report to CPS. They have to report to CPS. And so come January, I get a letter in the mail, and it says CPS, and that I had to bring my kids down to CPS. And so I instantly call my mom, and I call my mom, and I'm crying, and I say, Mom, CPS want me to bring my kids down. I don't know what this is for. What should I do? And so my mom, she's like, just take them down there and, you know, see what they want, talk to them. And I was like, I don't know what this is for. And so, and she was like, your kids are well taken care of. They're, you know, they eat, they fed. It's probably nothing. And so the whole time I'm scared. And so I tell him, and I'm like, you know, I have to take my kids down to CPS for them to talk to my kids. And so, I take them down there. I take them to CPS, and he comes down there with us. And then we talk to the lady, and come to find out it was from the event from when he went to jail, and he, you know, he choked me out and stuff like that. And that's when they told me, like, you know, when kids are involved and it's domestic violence in the house, they have to report to CPS. And she said, we came to your house numerous of times, but, you know, nobody answered the door, which I probably was, more than likely was at work. And she said, that's why we sent the letter out. And she was like, thank you for coming or whatever. And she talked to my daughter, and they asked her questions. And they asked me, you know, was anything else going on, like domestic violence? Of course, I lied, and I told them, no, everything's been fine, and even though it wasn't. And so she told me, she's like, you know, well, if something like this is to happen again, she said, I'm going to close the case, but if something like this is to happen again, she said, we have no other option but to take your kids. And that was an eye-opener for me. And so I thought it would be an eye-opener for him, but it wasn't. And so after that, we were cool. So I thought we were cool, and it continued to happen. What else happened after that? Y'all, so many events didn't happen. I'm trying to, like, remember them, and, like, remember them. My son's snoring. And remember them in order. So if it seemed like I'm, like, all over the place, it's because I'm trying to remember them all in order. And but I know the CPS case like the back of my head. And so yeah, I thought things would change. And then, like I said, I just became so checked out of the relationship because he continued to cheat. He continued to put his hands on me. One thing about it is, I could say I've never put my hands on him first. Never. I was always taught that if you put your hand on a man, be expecting a man to put their hands back on you, you know. So I've never, like, just put my hands on him, like, never. No matter how much he cheated, no matter how much he disrespected me, I've always had self-control, and I've never, like, put my hands on him. But my mouth is something vicious. I can tell you that. My mouth is something vicious. And so, what else happened after that? After that, I knew I was kind of done with not kind of, but I knew I was like, you know, over it. It was just like my kids now are in jeopardy. I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, if you don't get it together, I'm out of here. He did go to counseling because, you know, I did tell him, you know, you need to go to counseling because it's you're battling something that I can't help you with. Like, you battling shit that you should have dealt with in your childhood trauma. So you don't know how to treat women. And it's like, you don't know how to treat women because all the anger that he had from his mom. He will always say, like, I don't know why my mom, this is his birth mom, I don't know why she never wanted me, but she chose to raise my other brothers. And so I feel like he was just battling something from his childhood, to the point he didn't know how to treat women. That was another reason that I stayed too, because I had so much faith in him that, you know, he would get it together. I felt like he wanted to, but he just couldn't. He was battling so much. He was battling so many demons. He was just like an evil person. He was an evil person, and he didn't care about nobody but himself. And when my kids were in jeopardy and he didn't change for my kids, I knew he was just evil. He was evil. And if your kids don't make you change, nothing is gonna make you change. And then so that's when I decided, you know, it just kept going on. It kept going on, the fighting in front of my kids. It kept going on. And all I could think about is that lady telling me, you know, if this was to happen again, if the police get called to your house and the kids are there, we're going to take your kids. So, of course, he took the advantage of that, because he knew I wasn't going to call the police because my kids are in jeopardy. My kids are here. My kids are going to get taken if, you know, I call the police. So it was like, I really had no help. I couldn't call the police. My family still didn't, my granny and them still didn't know what was going on. And then that's when I stopped not coming home. I stopped not coming home, like, after work. And I think it was starting to hit him, like, yeah, she's checked out of this marriage. And so one day, that's when he called my mom. And he was like, Mookie didn't come home. And I've been calling and texting her. And she's not responding. And I think it was like thundering or something like that. And it's thundering and the lights are out. And like, he would just lie about crazy shit. Like, he would lie about crazy shit. And so my mom ended up calling me one day. And so she's like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm at my best friend's house and I'm asleep. And then so she's like, well, why Brian calling me saying da 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 da? And I said, Mom, he's lying. And at this point now, I'm just so drained. I'm so drained, y'all. It was starting to show on my face that I was so drained. And so I couldn't hold it in no more. And that's when I told my mom, I said, Mom, Brian had been putting his hands on me. You know, my kids are damn near about to get taken. And I told my mom, he been pulling guns out on me in front of my kids. You know, I broke down and I had to tell my mom because he was trying to paint me to be like just this horrible person, like as if I just left my marriage and I just didn't want to be there no more. And so I had to explain to my mom, you know, what was going on and what I had been dealing with. And, you know, like what I had been dealing with. You know, I'm like, Mom, I don't know no way out. And so I'm like, and so I tell my mom everything. And so that's when she finally talked to Brian. And of course he denies it or whatever. And it kept happening. And so now it's to the point my mom knows. And so I will call my mom when shit is happening. And I would tell her. And I'm like, Mom, stay on the phone. And like, you know, listen. It's not me. And so my mom will be on the phone half the time, like when shit is going on. And then she'll call him and she'll tell him, like, Brian, like, you need to get your shit together. You know, if you love your wife and you love your babies, you need to get your shit together because she's gonna leave. And so that whole time, I already had my mind made up that I was leaving. And I was just trying to find a way out. And so one day I called my sister. And I told my sister, she's under me. And so I called Nunu. And I just broke down. And I finally tell my sister. And I said, I need your help. And I said, I'm gonna leave my apartment. And I said, I'm gonna leave everything behind, put my stuff in storage, and I'm gonna come out there. I said, I just need to stay with you for a few months until I get my shit together and I find a place for me and my babies. I said, all I need you to do is watch my kids while I go to work and I get everything together for us. And so my sister, she's like, I've been telling you to come out here. And I hope you guys can hear me. But my sister, she's like, I've been telling you to come out here. And she's like, you know, I got you. And she's like, do what you gotta do and just come out here. And so I was moving in silence, and I was just trying to get me and my babies away the safest way possible. And that's all I kept thinking about, because I was just like, he had done so much. He had done so much to me. And I was to a point where it was either him or it was me. And I was damn if he was gonna take me from my kids. And so I was moving in silence, and I ended up putting a transfer in for my job. I put a transfer in for my job, and I transferred my job out here to Nevada. And I got accepted. They sent me an email saying I got accepted to transfer my job out here to Nevada. I told my sister, and my manager knew what was going on. And I asked her, could I break my lease early? And she's like, yeah. I had been with my apartments for so long, and, you know, I never had no type of nothing, you know, until he came to my house and the police started getting called to my house and shit like that. And so she was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my manager over me, and, you know, I'm gonna see if you can break your lease and you can move out. You don't even have to give us 30-day notice. You can move out sooner than 30 days. And so, you know, she talked to the manager or whatever, and I ended up staying for 30 days anyways. But in the midst of me staying out, I thought by me telling him, you know, I'm just gonna take the kids and I'm gonna go, you know, I'm not taking the kids from you, you can still see them, but me and you are done. And, you know, it was like the icing on the cake. And that's when stuff really just started, just like boom, 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 boom. It was just like going crazy. And once he knew that I transferred my job, he was like, first thing he said, oh, you're not taking me? And I said, no, me and my kids are going, we're leaving. And I said, like I told you, I'm not taking them from you. You can see them. You're more than welcome to see them anytime you want to. I said, but I'm gonna leave, and it's just me and my kids leaving. And that's when by this time I had ended up putting him out. I finally put him out. Well, I've been put him out, but he finally left once the police made him leave and stuff like that. And so one day he came, he's trying to kick my door in. Mind you, now this is before I even got the chance to take my kids out here to Nevada to my sister. And he's trying to kick my door in, and so I called the police on him. And I'm like, you know, my husband is here He's threatening me. My kids are in here scared. He's trying to break into my house. So the police ended up coming, and they say, when you're married, you really, it's like, I see why women kill their husbands, or majority of the time it's women killing their husbands for domestic violence. But I see why women kill their husbands, because the police act like because you're married, you're like property of your husband's or some shit. Like, it's like they can do anything to you. And so I say that to say, because when they got there, they're like, do he live here? I said, no, he don't live here. Okay, so let me back it up. After I told him about me transferring and that I accepted the transfer, this night he was supposed to have watched the kids for me, because he was not staying at my house anymore, but he was supposed to watch the kids for me while I went to work. At first he said he wasn't gonna watch them, and then he decided he was gonna come and he was gonna watch them. But in the midst of that, he only said that he was gonna watch them is because he was gonna take my kids and try to hold them hostage in Vallejo at his granny house. And I told him to leave my kids, but they were already in the car with him, and so he drove off with my kids. Um, he pretty much took me on a high-speed chase with my kids because he was running through red lights trying to get away from me. But I was following him in my car, and he was in his car with my kids, and he was running through red lights with my kids. And this is how the police got involved, because I actually called the police and they came to my house. But after that, that's when he started harassing me, and he was trying to kick my door in. And so this is how the next day we ended up going to the courthouse. Well, I was supposed to be at the courthouse by myself, but he pretty much followed me to the courthouse the next day. But he was such a narcissist. He would tell the police that he lived there. He didn't live there no more. I told them he hasn't been living here for over like months now. I said, I can show y'all text messages of this man threatening me. I said, he don't live here at all. I said, y'all can do a walkthrough through my house. He don't have nothing here at all. So first thing they say, once they do the walkthrough, they go in my closet. They see hella shoes at the top. And he's like, so whose all these shoes belong to? Are these his shoes? I said, no, sir, those are my shoes. And he's like, oh, you have a lot of shoes. And so I guess he thought because it was a lot of Jordans and Nikes and stuff up there that they were his shoes and that he lived there. I said, if you can see that this whole side of this closet is empty, he does not live here. So whole time he's outside of my apartments, because my manager had ended up putting like a stay away so he couldn't come into my apartments or whatever, but he still was, you know, trying to kick my door in and come into my apartments. The police ended up telling me, they're like, if I were you, he said, because neither one of you have custody of your son. He said, so if you take him and you leave, there's nothing that we can do. Or if he takes the baby and he leaves, there's nothing that we can do. He said, so if I was you, I would go down to the courthouse and I would get a restraining order on him. And I would try to, you know, go for full custody of the, you know, the baby and stuff like that. And I said, okay. So I'm not sure if they told him the same thing or if he had just been watching my house, but I honestly think he was just watching my house, because there's no way that the next day we ended up at the courthouse the same exact day at the same time. So I get to the courthouse, and I'm in there and I'm filling out paperwork, and you know, my kids are just sitting there and they're playing. And so he walks up, and my daughter said, "Hi, Daddy." And so I get scared and I look up, and he grabs my son. And so now we're in the courthouse, and we're going back and forth. And so I hold my son, and I'm holding my son by his arm, but I'm not pulling him, no nothing. I'm holding my son, and I'm like, "Can you please give me my son? Like, give me my baby." And I knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to take my son, because they had already told him, if you take him, there's nothing that we can do. So he was trying to take my son, because he know the only way he can get to me is through my son. That's the only way he can move me is through my son. So we're in the courthouse, and we're going back and forth, and I'm just now breaking down crying, and I'm like, "Please just give me my baby, like let my baby go." And he's like, "No." And so then now the marshals come from around the corner, and they see that I have my baby arm. And so I finally let my baby go, because now, the police is there, and now I feel safe, like he's not gonna run off with my baby. And so this lady, she's standing there, she got my daughter, and she's like, "Ma'am, I'm gonna just stand right here with your baby while you talk to the officers," or whatever. And so I'm talking to the officers, and another lady, she walks up, and she's like, she's explaining to the officers, like, this man just came in and, started being aggressive, trying to take her kids. She walked in here with these kids. She's been right here with these kids, and these kids been playing while she's filling out paperwork and stuff like that. And he tried to lie to the officers and tell them that he walked in with my kids. And I'm like, "No, he didn't." So the ladies, they did vouch for me, and the people that were sitting there, they was like, "No, this girl been sitting here with these babies, and she walked in with these babies." And so they ended up letting me leave. The officer walked me out with my kids and let me leave. And the lady, she's like, "If you come down to my office," she said, "I'll help you fill out these paperwork and get everything filled out the correct way, so that you can hurry up and get these papers expedited, and so that, the courts can see this," or whatever. So as I'm leaving the courthouse, I pulls off, and when I look in my rearview mirror, here he is behind me. He's behind me, because I forgot a whole nother part. But he's behind me, and now he's trying to run me off the road. So I'm driving, and and it's a UPS truck right here. So he tries to cut my car off, so that if he goes in my front of my car is gonna hit the UPS truck. And so now I call my mom, and I'm crying, and I'm like, "Mom, he followed me from the courthouse." And I'm like, I said, because I'm talking to the officer. Before I left, I talked to the officer, and he told me, I'm crying because I'm so frustrated. And I'm like, "Mom, they told me, if they want to, they can pretty much press charges on me, because I had Mason's arm, and that's child endangerment." And I said, "Yeah, the officer, he pretty much told me they could file a case against me, because they did see me holding Mason's arm or whatever." And Mom was like, "You know what, fuck them." She said, "You take them kids, and you take them kids to your sister, and you leave them out there with your sister." And so by this time, I'm in my car still, and he's still trying to run me off the road with my kids. And so then I goes back to the courthouse. And so I go back to the courthouse, because I knew it, if I go back to the courthouse, he was gonna stop following me. So I go back to the courthouse, take my kids out the car, and then he goes past my car or whatever, and I go in there, and I'm explaining to him, I'm like, he just tried to run me off the road with my kids or whatever. I'm like, "What can y'all do? Can somebody help me? What can y'all do?" So they sent me next door, and they put me in this witness protection type stuff. And then I ended up telling the lady, I said, I can't go back to my house right now because I'm more than sure, you know, he's going to be at my house. And so she gave me like this voucher with like food and diapers for my son and clothes and stuff like that. And so I just took the little voucher or whatever, and I just went and bought my kids some clothes. No. I took the voucher and I dropped my kids off. I dropped my kids off to my granny, and I ran back to the house by myself. And so I made sure I looked around and stuff like that. And I was already planning on moving, so I had like baskets of their clothes, and so I just grabbed the only basket that had their clothes or whatever. I grabbed that basket and I put it in my car, and I left back out, and I went and got my babies, and I got on the road, and I brought my babies to Las Vegas. And so I called my sister, and I told my sister, you know, I'm on my way, and I told her what happened. You know, I'm like, I'm on my way to bring my kids out there. And she was like, okay. So I got to Vegas, and my kids were in Vegas with my sister, and I drove back home. And so he knew that I had went to Las Vegas, but the whole time he knew that I transferred my job, so he thought that I was starting my job right then and there. But I still had like 3 more weeks in Stockton still. So I had to leave my kids out there with my sister. And I came back home, and I was pretty much in my house, and I was like sneaking in and out of my house, so that he wouldn't like happen to drive past my house and see my car was out there and see that I was still out there in Stockton, but my kids were still out there. But he ended up figuring out that I was still in Stockton. And he figured that out because he ended up calling my daughter, and he's like questioning my daughter, and he's like, oh, where's mommy and stuff like that. And my baby was like, she's only 4 at the time, so she's like, oh, my daughter said she didn't, my sister said it wasn't my daughter that told him, it was another little girl, and she was like, your mama's at home. And so he ended up hearing that I was at home, and so he texted me. He was like, oh, so you at home or something like that? And I was just like, no, where did you get that from? And then so I would just stay in my house for the last 3 weeks of me working. I was sneaking in and out of my house. I would be in my house in the dark. I would tell my brother to come get my car, so my car wouldn't be like in my drive, in my parking stall and stuff like that. And like, I think the last couple of days of me being in Stockton before I left, that's when he knew that I was in Stockton. And at this time, he knew that I was really leaving. And of course, I was kind of still dumb. And he asked to talk to me, but you know, I felt safe because my babies were my main priority. And getting my babies safe was my main priority, and not getting my kids took was my main priority. It wasn't like I was scared of him, because you know, like, I could beat him up if I really wanted to. But like I said, that was never my intentions, to fight a man or fight my husband. That's not what I want to do. So he asked to see me, and at this time he was living with his nephew, and so I went over there, you know, to talk to him. And he was like, so you really leaving? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, this is the best thing, you know, for us or whatever. And I said, he was so worried about me getting a divorce. And he was like, so are you going to, you know, get a divorce and everything like that? And I said, you know, that's not what I'm worried about right now. Because at that time, that wasn't what I was worried about, because I still had hope for my marriage. I just thought, you know, by me leaving California, it would in his mind get his shit together. Like, damn, my family is really leaving. If you really loved us that much, you would get your shit together. And so we sat and we talked, and I told him, I said, Brian, all I want you to do is get your stuff together, go to counseling, get help. I said, because you really need help. And I'm like, if you can show me that your family is what you want, your wife, your kids is what you want, I said you will really get your shit together and you'll show me we are who you want. And I said, I'll send for you. I said, if you can really show me that you want to get your shit together, go get counseling, go get help. I said, and if you show me that you getting some type of help, I said, I will send for you. I will send for you to come to Vegas, and you know I got you. And so he cried, and he was like, I promise you, I'm gonna get it together. I promise you, I'm gonna do it for my kids, and because I want to be with my family. And so after that, I got on the freeway. I said, you know, I got one more day here, and I'm gonna go home and get the rest of this stuff, and I leave tomorrow morning. And he's like, okay. A real narcissist. When I tell you a real narcissist, a real fucking narcissist. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I promise you, I'm gonna get it together. I promise you. And I was like, all right, you just show me that. You're gonna have to show me better than you can tell me, because you've done so much. And so he was like, just let me know, you know, when you get back to Vegas, let me know that you made it safe. I let him know, you know, when I got to Vegas, you know, I made it safe. And ever since then, I've been in Vegas, and I didn't look back. And yeah, I didn't look back. And I was having withdrawals. And when I came out here, when I tell y'all, I cried every day. I cried every day because I wanted my marriage to work so bad. And I wanted him to just get it together so bad. And I wanted my family so bad. But I knew before I even left that, you know, he was messing with somebody else, and he had he was doing his own thing, and his family ain't what he really wanted. But I was his comfort zone. I was the one who made sure he was okay. I had his back. I was what he was used to. And once he found another source of supply, it was just like he was okay with, you know, staying out there in Stockton. And then I think it was Christmas time. When my daughter first got to Vegas, she was just having like such a hard time. And she would cry, and she would just say, I just want my dad. And she would just always look so sad. When we first came to Vegas, she would always look so sad. And I think one day they were talking, and she told my sister, you know, I really just want to go live with my dad. And so that broke me, because it was like, she knows what's going on, because my baby brought up events that didn't happen that I never thought that she would remember. So she knew what was going on, but in the midst of her knowing that what was going on, she still loved her dad. She loved that man, and she just wanted us to be together, and she just wanted us to be a family. Because she would just say, Mom, I just want my dad to come home. Is my dad gonna come home? And I was like, I would tell her, like, I don't know, baby, maybe. And so I think it was around Christmas, and I had asked her, I said, Mama, what you want for Christmas? And she said, I want my dad. And so I put my pride aside, and I texted them, and I was like, you know, your daughter wants you out here for Christmas. So do you want to spend Christmas with us? And I had moved into my place. It took me like 2-3 months. I moved into my place of me being here. And he's like, yeah, I want to spend Christmas with y'all. And he was like, the tickets may be high. He was like, I have to see. And I said, don't worry about it. I'll fly you down here because this is what my baby wants for Christmas. So I put my pride aside. I flew him down here. You know, it was okay. It was cool. It was okay.
What's your surprise, Mom? What's your surprise?
I'm not gonna say he was changed, but of course he's a narcissist, so he know how to flip his switches on and off and shit. So when he came down here, he was cool. He didn't really say too much, but you could tell that he was somewhere else. He was somewhere else. Like his mind was somewhere else. It wasn't with his family no more. And so he did talk about moving back home and transferring his job. And I told him, like, we can work it out if that's something that you want to do. And I'm glad that I followed my first mind and I didn't allow him to move down here, because he was like literally the same person. He had a whole nother relationship going on, but yet he was still trying to keep his wife. I don't know if he was trying to make me a side bitch, but that wasn't gonna happen. Never ever in a million years. So I'm mad that my mic is off. Yeah, but let me make sure my camera's still on. Hold on. Okay, we're still rolling though. Yeah, hold on. Okay, it's on, but I hope you guys was hearing me throughout the video. Yeah, but in the beginning of the year, the beginning of this year, I did think about it, and you know, I thought about making my family work, you know, for my kids. But I've come to a place where I'm at peace. I don't miss him no more. My heart's not there no more. I'm completely done with the situation. I was such a good person to him. A great fucking wife to him. And he and I both know that. And he was such an evil person to me. And because I was so kind-hearted to him, no matter anything, despite anything he's done to me, I still try to hold on, and I try to push through, and I try to make my marriage work for my babies. And because I genuinely was in love with that man, he was just an evil person. He was an evil person. This was, I have to say, the worst relationship I've ever been in, the worst marriage I've ever been in. For a minute, I was like, I never want to be with nobody else. I never want to be married again. I met people, and I just always had my guard up. Yeah, he was just like, he was a horrible person to me. And I couldn't believe it. Like, after all I've been through with him, after me just having his back through everything, you would think that, I'm not gonna say, I am gonna say, you would think he would put me on the highest pedestal and treat me with the most utmost respect. But, you know, he treated me like the scum at the bottom of his shoes. Like, and I can finally say that I'm done with the situation. Baby, I'm done. I've cried throughout this video because I haven't talked about this in such a long time. I'm now putting my story out there to the world for the world to judge me or have their opinion, which I don't care, because it's my life, it's my story. I had to get through it to get where I am today. My kids are happy. My daughter, she loves her dad, but she's starting to see things for herself. My son, he's still young, so he's smart, but he's more so attached to me than anything. So he really just, he don't really too much care. Like if he see his dad, he see his dad. He asks about him sometimes, like, Mom, can I call my dad? And I'll let him call him. But now that he has this like new girlfriend, but still be worried about me, and still to this day worried about me and what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. But he has this girlfriend that he's so in love with. Yeah, he don't really too much call my kids, so I just blocked him from everything, because it's like he pick and choose when he want to deal with them. And nobody ever, mama, daddy, sister, granny, nobody will ever pick and choose when they want to deal with my kids. So it's like, yeah, we're good, we're better off without him. But yeah, that's my story time. I am in a much better place. I'm in an amazing, happy place right now. I haven't been this happy in so long, to the point that I don't even want to be friends with him no more. I don't want to kick it, want to skate with him, nothing. I don't want nothing to do with him. Like, I kind of just want to feel like, and I'm an Aquarius, so if you know this, you know, I can't act like you just don't exist no more, like you fell off the face of the earth. And pretty much that's what I've done. He still brings me up, and people still ask like, oh, or tell me shit, like he asked about me, and I'm just like so cringy, like, don't even tell me, I don't care. Like, yeah, but he can never sit at my table ever again. And if he watched this, baby, you can never ever sit at my table again. You can never eat with me. You can never. I don't care if you was on fire today, I wouldn't spit on you. I wouldn't waste my last bottle of water on you. And there's no hate, it's just, I came back to my senses, and I finally remember who the fuck I am. And yeah, you should never have been able to sit at my table before this. So it's like, you can never sit with me. But I wish you well. I wish him well. I wish him the best of everything, and I hope he get everything he deserves, everything. And that's not up to me, that's up to God. So whatever God think he deserves, I pray God give him everything he deserves. So yeah, that's my story time. And you make Corey Pritchett look like an angel. Thank you guys for watching. And make sure you guys follow me on all my social medias. I have more videos. I have more stuff that you guys need to see. I'm not gonna speak on it right now until it's all done. But yeah, I have more videos. I have more story times and such things like that. So you guys make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media sites. And bye. Thank you guys for watching.